Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the news. It is the 17th of March. We've got loads to get in today. Luis Enrique has finally spoken out about his future at PSG. He's not giving a lot away, but we'll get into that and what it means for Manchester United. Also, there's been an interview with Stephen Torpey at Manchester United, and we'll have a look at that as well with Andy Mitten. Is Dalot going to Real Madrid? That's a question that needs answering, apparently. And Igor Thiago has been linked with Man United. But first of all, look at the Stretfordpaddock.store. As you can see from my jumper, there's loads of cool stuff on there. As you know, if you haven't seen already, just go and check it out. Have a look. There may be something that you enjoy. But first of all, good morning, everyone. Morning, Santa Notch. Morning, Akash. Morning, Jackie Trot. We've got a lot of the regular faces in here. Morning, Tyler, as well. Good morning, everyone. Let's start with this Enrique stuff, because he is, I think, for a lot of people, the sort of outstanding contender for the Manchester United job. I know Michael Carrick is probably the bookie's favourite, partly because of the fact that he's already in the job, so you'd have to get rid of him to bring someone else in, and partly for the fact that he's done absolutely superbly since he's come in. But amongst the people I speak to and my friends and people on the channel and what we see in the comments, all of the other candidates, Glasner, Iraola, Eddie Howe, even Julian Nagelsmann, a lot of people go, yeah, they're all right, but why change what we've got now for them? The only one that ever seems to stand above all of that, and people go, you know what, if he's available, we have to go for it, is this man right here, Luis Enrique. He's won trebles at 2 different clubs. I think he's only the second manager ever to do that. He's someone that finally broke the curse at PSG as well, winning that Champions League during the treble. And is someone that has done it in multiple different countries, has done it internationally as well, which obviously you get less respect for. But he's been around, he's got experience, and he's a sort of as close as you're going to get to a proven name. He was asked about his link to Premier League clubs. He said, I don't understand what you're saying and I don't care. How do you know you don't care if you don't understand what's being said? It's not important. I'm the coach of PSG and I'm very happy to coach this great club. He didn't say red love heart, blue love heart afterwards. That was added by Fabrizio Romano. Now, just bring it back up a sec. Adam McCall in the super chat. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. I forgot I've not started with that. I've not even opened with that. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. And thank you, Adam, of course. I've not seen his first message. What was that? Where was that? Oh. Right, I'm not reading that out, Adam. If people want to get in the comments, they can read it themselves. But it's fine, it's doing well. But I'm not reading it, that's disgusting. But happy St. Patrick's Day. Enrique, right, he's obviously incredible. You look at the comment here. I don't understand what he's saying. I don't care, it's not important. I'm the coach of PSG and I'm very happy to coach this great club. Now, on one hand, it's roughly as emphatic as you could expect, isn't it? If you're a PSG fan and you're looking for reasons that he's staying, this is a pretty good one. He don't care about leaving. Nothing else is important to him. He's the coach of PSG and he's really happy here. Perfect. And we're a great club. A little compliment as well. But if you want to look at it as has he denied his leaving? Has he denied the idea that Man United would interest him, or that another club would interest him, or that this could be the end of his time at PSG? He hasn't done any of that. And I'm not saying that, therefore, he is leaving. I'm just saying he hasn't said, I will be here next season, I'm not going anywhere. What he said, which is what everyone says, whether it's a player, a manager, anyone who kind of wants to keep the door not open, but you're not slamming it shut either. He says, I'm focusing on this. I am here, I play for X club, and I'm focusing on X games. He's basically doing the exact same thing. I don't care, it's not important, I'm the coach of PSG and I'm happy to coach this club. Doesn't mean he'll be there next season, or that he's staying, or that he's ruling anything else out. So I would take that in that middle bracket of whatever you want to read into that, you can, and I think he knows that. He's a smart bloke, he knows that he could have said, I want to be the manager of this team for a long time to come, I'm not going anywhere. And he hasn't said that. Now, what he said is pretty dismissive of the question, but we've seen this a million times with players. Oh, there's been links to Manchester United. Are you interested? I'm happy at Brentford. I'm really happy at Real Madrid. What I want to focus on is the next game here. Do you know what I mean? Short of the old who knows what will happen in the future line, he's basically said the exact textbook answer that anyone says when they're linked with somewhere and they don't want to rule it out, which is, I'm focusing on the here and now. And I don't expect him to say anything else. Adam McCullough. Gifting Stretford Paddock super memberships. Fantastic. He got one himself. Sometimes that's the way it goes, isn't it? Well done. Thanks, Adam. And yeah, for anyone who's a new member, by the way, who's just got one of these memberships, very good, very nice of Adam McCullough there. We've got a brand new series over on the memberships, our player ratings after every single game. Me and Jay, me and Adam McCullough as well, sitting down and rating and reviewing each Manchester United player after every game, exclusive on the membership section. So go and check that out if you have just been given one of these new memberships, or if you're someone that's been a member for a while, go and check it out. I want to make sure that the content over there is as good as it possibly can be, and we're starting with a brand new series exclusive to the members section. Let's move on to our next story. Man United open talks to sign £71 million Igor Thiago. Now, it's begun, hasn't it? It's begun. This is Give Me Sport, and I'll be honest, right? The article we're about to read later on tells me we should not take anything they say with any seriousness whatsoever. Apologies to completely rule out Give Me Sport here, but I'm going to read this story anyway. But don't even take it with a pinch of salt. Cover yourself in salt like a cured fish, and that's how much salt we should be taking this article with. Man United raided Brentford last summer to sign star forward Brian Mbeumo, and the Red Devils could go back to the West London club to replicate that deal this summer by signing Igor Thiago. There we go, that's a way of saying it. Man United, the Brazilian striker, has been a revelation in the Premier League since arriving at the G-Tech Community Stadium in 2024. Signed almost as an Mbeumo replacement, not that they knew it back then. Thiago joined the club for a record fee in February 24, but did not arrive until the summer, only going on to line up 8 times alongside the Cameroonian in 24-25. Okay. But they could be brought back together this summer if reports from Sports Boom are to be believed. Is this where we've got to? We're quoting Give Me Sport, quoting Sports Boom. Sports Boom. Sports Boom provide expert match previews, insightful articles, and the latest sports news. Real-time updates on your favourite team and favourite players, plus thorough bookmaker reviews and trusted betting tips. Now, that's one sentence. There's a lot of words in that sentence. United have already held discussions behind the scenes, apparently, about signing the 24-year-old this summer, and are primed to make an official move once the transfer window opens. He's the closest player to Erling Haaland in the Premier League top scorers list this season, bagging an impressive 17 goals in 26 appearances. He's actually got 19 goals in 30 appearances. So this was written a month ago. When's this article from? February the 15th. Oh, we got this in here. Where's this come from? It doesn't. We don't know.
How this slipped through the cracks.
It slipped through the cracks. It's 6 weeks. It's a month old.
Well, we didn't cover it back then.
We didn't cover it back then. We'll cover it now. I mean, it's bollocks anyway. So who cares when it was written? I tell you what. He's got. Just get rid of this. He's got 19 goals in 30 games. He's obviously going to be of interest to a lot of people. But then there are these strikers that do this, aren't there? Someone will come along and they'll get a load of goals and then they'll sink back into obscurity again. And I'm not having a go at him. He's done well over the last few seasons. At Ludogorets, he got 15 goals. In Club Brugge, he got 18 goals. At Brentford, he's got 19 goals. He's improving. His numbers are getting better as his career goes on, which is what you want to see. He's only 24 years old as well, despite what his face would have you believe. He's a small, he's not small, he's 6'3". He's 24 years old. And for some reason, and this is harsh because why can't I just say he's a very good striker who's capable of scoring loads of goals? And yet my brain wants to say for some reason he keeps scoring this season. And I do think he's a good player. I just don't think United are going to be in the market for a striker of that age this season when you've got Benjamin Sesko, who I think hopefully next season will be capable of putting up similar numbers and looks to me like a player that should be able to do that more consistently over the next decade. Whereas Thiago, I don't know, he keeps scoring, I'll give him that, but I need to see another season or two out of him before I know he is worth the money that they're talking about. Monty says, would you take 100 million for Bruno in the summer to completely rebuild the midfield, getting in players like Anderson and Baleba? No, I wouldn't, because we can get them anyway. And without Bruno, what have you gained? Who are you going to play there? Who are you playing in the number 10? You get Anderson and Baleba, great. Who are they playing behind? Because if it's Joshua Zirkzee, I think we've just gone backwards. Mason Mount's not. We can't rely on him fitness wise. I think we need to keep Bruno and get Anderson and Baleba or equivalent. Let's have a look at our next story. Agreement. Manchester World. It's Fabrizio Romano. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll give you that. A little bit more reliable. Although, what the hell he's doing these days, who knows? Have you not got enough money? You got 20 million followers. You tweet every 3 seconds. You're getting money on your AdSense. You're getting money on your YouTube. You get money when you write an article in The Guardian. You get money when you go on Sky Sports. You get money when you do that. Do you need to be sponsored by the Saudi government as well? Come on, mate. Anyway, agreement done. Man United expect €80 million transfer as Fabrizio Romano issues update. Okay, so that's what it is. We expect this deal to be done, okay? Man United anticipate they will receive a significant windfall from player sales. There you go, tricked you. You all thought it was outgoing, incomings. It's outgoings, which will help them with their own recruitment plan. We're talking, of course, Casemiro's wages. We're talking, I'm going to guess, Rasmus Højlund. We're talking Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho's wages as well. All players that are leaving in the summer. Højlund, yeah, Rashford, potentially a sell-on clause included in Mason Greenwood's contract, although there's no strong links that he's going to be going anywhere at the moment. But it makes sense. These are things that we put in place last season. I wonder if we have been able to factor these into some of our spending anyway. I wonder whether part of last summer's 200 million splurge was relying on Højlund going to Napoli permanently or Rashford going to Barcelona permanently. I'm not saying that, we can't have already put it in the books because it's not happened, but knowing that PSR happens on a 3-year rolling timescale, we may have already accounted for these deals in terms of our budgeting and our spending. I don't think these deals are going to happen and all of a sudden this summer we're going to have 500 million to spend. But I do think it helps. And we've already got 80 million or so coming in from different players, from wages or, if you minus the outgoings rather than incomings. Then that's a great place to start. For a long time, United would end a summer transfer window with 35, 40 million in sales across 3 or 4 different players. And all of a sudden, we're entering the modern world where we're selling players for 40 million, for 30 million. We haven't had a 50 million in about 20 years, but we're not far off. We got rid of Scott McTominay. We got rid of Dan James. We got money for players in recent seasons. I expect we'll get money for Ugarte. I expect we'll get a bit of money for Joshua Zirkzee. We need to enter the modern world where your sales aren't a tenth of your outgoings. They need to be a third of your outgoings or half of your outgoings. And it seems like we're doing that. I want to talk about this Torpey interview, please, if we can, with Andy Mitten. Exclusive interview with Steve Torpey, United's head of academy, who says, I want this to be the greatest academy ever. He was at Liverpool as a kid, then coach at Man City and Brentford. He also played with Andy Mitten's brother at FC United as well. Now, he's someone that I think is on this long conveyor belt of former Manchester City staff that have come to Manchester United. And on one hand, I see a lot of people who are cynical, who are a little bit doubtful, who don't like the idea that a load of City fans are rocking up at Man United and trying to turn us into City 2.0 when, we aren't Manchester City. As much as we want some of their success of the last 10 years, we aren't Man City and we don't want to be ran exactly like Man City. We don't want to think of ourselves as a team that is a sort of plucky underdog that, is doing things the wrong way to get success. However, for 20 years, we have cried out for people who have a track record, football people coming in. It's been bankers, it's been hires from within of people that have never worked in football in roles and never worked at other clubs before. It's been friends of friends. It's been a sort of pat on the back boys club at Manchester United for a long time, certainly post Sir Alex, with the likes of Ed Woodward and John Murtagh and Richard Arnold. And all of a sudden, yes, a lot of them are coming from Man City, but if you're looking at a CV worth having, surely the team that's been the best in the world for the last 10 years isn't a bad place to start. It's a shame they have to be our rival, but I'd rather someone that knows what it's like to win a few FA Youth Cups, or in the case of, Omar Barada, win a few Premier Leagues, or, be successful. Isn't that exactly what we wanted? Hopefully they're not, we always have that spy kind of covert agent feeling where it's like, are they still working for Man City in some, are they still, but if you signed a player from City or from Leeds or whatever, you wouldn't expect them to be sabotaging us in training. No one thought that Alan Smith was trying to injure his own teammates to help Leeds out. I don't think that that's going to happen, is it? And people who are good at their job, who have had success in the previous job, doing that same job for Man United, to me is a good thing. And people go, oh, well, they had a good structure. They had good. Well, part of the reason they had good people and a good structure is the people. You can't completely divorce Man City's success from every person in the hierarchy making them successful. I don't think it was the UAE royal family or the heads of state that actually did all the running and the preparation and the football stuff. I think it was people like Steve Torpey and Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada that made them successful. Unless you want to put it all on cheeky Begiristan and say that actually it was him and everyone else just turned up for work, played on the phone and went home. But I think, as good a place to source people from, they know the area, they live probably around the corner, they've had success, and Man United are getting them. I think that's a good thing, personally. I'm happy with that. Real Madrid's prepare 6-man fire sale list of superstars who could exit this summer. That's Phuket. Yeah, that's the sort of transfer headline that we see a lot, isn't it? The only concern with ex-Man City is that they had unlimited money. I agree with you, but they didn't have unlimited money in 2010. From 2010 onwards. When was it that PSR came in? 2012? They built that initial squad that saw them through a lot of those early titles with unlimited money. They did. PSR didn't exist. FFP didn't exist. So yes, they had unlimited money to start with. And that gives you a massive leg up. Look at Man United, for instance. The squad that we had in 1993, a lot of them, or maybe go a bit further forward, maybe 96, 97, they were academy players, so it wasn't spending, it wasn't, I don't want to say cheating, but cheating, like Man City. But Ryan Giggs was still here for the last title. Paul Scholes was here until 2012. Gary Neville was still here until 2010. You get a few key pieces right, they can last you 15 years, 10 years. So yes, Man City was still benefiting from the unlimited spending they could do in 2008, 2009, 2010, by the time Pep arrived. But I don't know how long Steve Torpey was there for and how long Jason Wilcox was there for and Omar Barada, but I know they weren't there in 2006, 2007, 2008 when the money started flowing. So at some point, yes, they've had an unfair advantage, but you still have to work with that. And let's be honest, Man United have got a load of money. If we handle things properly, if we make the right sales, if we, don't spend in stupid areas and we stop wasting money on Sanchos and Antonys and, players like that, we're going to have a shitload of money to spend. And that you are less likely to waste money on bad transfers when you've got people who know what they're doing in these positions. Look at last summer. We're not going to be selling Mbermo, Sesko or Cunha either at all or certainly for a loss anytime in the next 2 years. I think there'll be stalwarts at Man United. And if they're not, you're getting 50, 60, 70 million for any of them. That's the difference. After 1 year of Anthony, you knew that if we sold him, it would be for a third of what we bought him for. Same for Jadon Sancho. Ugarte this season, what did we spend? An initial 46 million? Probably get 30, 35 for him. Joshua Zirkzee, what did we spend on him? 38, 39 million? Probably get 30 for him. You're losing 10 and 15 million on a player that wasn't successful. How much have we lost on Anthony? 65 million? We lost 90 on Pogba. We're going to lose 73 on Sancho. There's a huge difference here. Let's talk at this Dalot. Now this. What's this? This is the original article. Is this got the ChatGPT thing in it?
No, this is the same story.
So there's 2 Dalot articles coming up, right? One of them might have to be the end of Give Me Sport on this channel. I know we've banned Ficharges already. Even as a laugh, we've had to ban them. We only ever had them on because they were funny and they were ridiculous, and we've still had to ban them. We may have to ban Give Me Sport in a minute, but we'll get to that. He looks like Cafu, but he's Portuguese. Who is this? Dalot? Is this an interview with Dalot's mum? Because I tell you what, scroll up. If we just take this on face value, he does not look like Cafu. So they must be talking about his footballing ability. And I can tell you on that front as well, I'm someone that is more in favour of Dalot than most. He does not look like Cafu. However, there are rumours from last season, again from this season, that Real Madrid are eyeing possible scenarios and have identified Dalot as one of its top choices to reinforce the right-back position. This option would only be available if the captain, Dani Carvajal, were to leave. Dalot is a similar playing style to Carvajal, but is perhaps more adept at joining the attack. I'm going to say something controversial now. I think Diogo Dalot would start and would be a regular and would be very good for Real Madrid. I think he's the exact sort of player that would thrive in La Liga. I think his build-up play is just good enough, and I think his physicality, his intensity, his relentlessness, his work rate, I think would make him stand out in that league. I think it'd be excellent for him. And obviously he'd still have those moments of lapses of concentration. He'd still have the sort of the dozy moments. But when you think about how many minutes per season you have to be switched on in the Premier League to not look foolish, and you compare that to La Liga, and that's no offence to, I mean, it is some offence to La Liga, and let's be honest, but he's going to be 2 goals up a lot more often than he is in England for Man United, so that even if he does make a mistake, the consequences won't be as severe. And also, you're playing against teams where your mistakes aren't punished as often as they are in the Premier League, whether that be physically, whether that be in terms of goals scored. If you let the ball roll under your foot, you're probably not going to get the ball pinched off your crossed-in goal as regularly. It's still going to happen. But I think, honestly, he wouldn't be a bad signing for them. And, I mean, as for Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't even know where he stands at Real Madrid at the minute. I think he's be a decent signing. And on that note, luckily we've got Give Me Sport using ChatGPT to ask how much Real Madrid would likely value a player of Dalot's calibre at. Real Madrid report. Let's get to the actual article here. What?
The article's regurgitating the other one. Saying about
Okay. Well, where does it say how much it'd be valued at? What does ChatGPT say? ChatGPT. This is what ChatGPT said. We're filling out articles with just ChatGPT answers now. A realistic negotiating range would sit between 30 and 40 million, potentially structured with performance-related add-ons. Final valuation depends on market competition and squad priorities. Thanks. First of all, ChatGPT, for just laying out the most basic understanding of what goes into the transfer fee of any player. How good are they? How much does the team need them? And thank you to Give Me Sport for using such a wonderful technology to tell us something we've all known since we were children. What are we doing? Millie Ray says Dalot would excel at Madrid. I completely agree. Dalot wouldn't even get to clean Cafu's boots. I mean, it'd be weird now if Cafu rang up Dalot and was like, I know I'm 58, but will you clean my boot? Actually, who's this? Dalot? You don't get to clean my boots. You're shit. Phone down. Doesn't happen. Yeah. What can we take from today? Good question. It's St. Patrick's Day, so let's all enjoy ourselves. Man United's chance of getting Enrique don't seem to have changed very much, although he has spoken about enjoying himself at PSG, but he's not committed to next season. We're selling some players. Igor Thiago might happen, but it's from Give Me Sport, so we can't believe it. And Diogo Dalot, I genuinely think if there isn't this season, there definitely has been interest in Real Madrid for Diogo Dalot. I don't expect us to sell him, but I do think that he's someone that would succeed at Real Madrid, personally. We've got loads coming up today. We're going to be chatting to Stephen Howson later on, and we're going to be getting into all things Manchester United, of course. And then tomorrow, what have we got tomorrow? Oh my God, wait a sec. Hold your horses. Carl Anker's coming in today. So I'm going to be chatting to Carl Anker, and I cannot wait for it. That's going to be coming out later on today. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Manchester United, absolute legend that is Carl Anker from The Athletic, of course. And also, if you haven't already, check out the merch. Loads of good stuff on there. The link is in the description, stretfordpaddock.store. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. This has been the news. We'll see you in a bit.